styles I have.
I don't think she's gonna be.
Oh, I think it's starting.
I don't think she usually joins the
I think
voice
it's good.
lessons, but she should be
So-
on later. So
Hi everyone.
That's good.
Welcome. How are you all feeling
Hello.
today?
Hello.
Pretty good.
Hello.
Doing pretty
And
well.
how are you feeling voice-wise? Are those
Pretty good.
larynxes warmed up and ready to go?
I've never been to one.
Come again?
I've never been to one, so I don't know how to.
This
do
is
it,
my first
so-
class as well.
Same.
Welcome. Hope you enjoy it.
as well.
Also,
Same.
I should get more water too. I'm really terrible at that. I usually drink way too little. Especially for a voice teacher.
Thanks for reminding me.
I'm trying to fix that. But aside from that, today we're actually going to be touching on nasality. So let me ask you all this. Have you all ever heard someone's voice being referred to as like nasal or muffled? Or maybe it like happened to your own voice?
Not really.
Happen.
You've got
Yes,
some yes in
My
the chat.
singing has been called nasal.
Ooh. And let's do a raise of hands. Who here knows what that means?
Well, I mean, I guess
Yeah,
some
that's
resonates
fine.
a bit too much in the nose cavity, so like, nah.
Exactly, actually. And we're gonna like elaborate on that like a lot more. But before we begin, like a couple of things about safety. We're gonna be doing a couple of like sounds today, just like as a group practice. So during the like lecture, I might call upon you all to like unmute and like do sounds together. But none of these sounds that we will be making should strain our voice or feel painful. In fact, it's like quite unlikely. So if you feel that happening, something is wrong and you should like probably like stop and take a break. That's totally fine. But to get started with things, first of all, like why should we care about nasality? Like we are here to like learn gender, right? But it's like majorly like two reasons. One, if we want to be able to like mimic a person's voice like one-to-one, we have to care about the secondary qualities of voice. You know, beyond the things like we talked about like before, like, you know, weight, resonance, although like nasality is included in resonance, but like below those like major and like broad generalizations, along with like pitch, matching someone's voice actually involves like a lot of like this tinkering, like, you know, matching their exact like tongue height and matching like how much nasality is in their voice, how they like, how much their cadence is, how they speak. Are they like sounding like really pressed when they talk? Are they like really like loose? And nasality is just like one of those like features. And I see a lot of people in like trans spaces. I don't know if complain is the right word, but like complain like about like having similar sounds. You know, we all like kind of learn through like the same resources. We mimic like the same vowels mostly. So that's why like I encourage to like really have people branch out when learning. Like find voice clips you like really enjoy of like people you like really admire and try to like find the commonality between like different voices about like and that's gonna be like really great insight about like what you want within your own voice. So nasality can also be quite hammering to progress with those like three main things, like changing our resonance for gender, our pitch, and our weight. Because, and this also applies to like the other like secondary characteristics about voice. If there's too much of them, it's gonna affect our overall like voice quality. So say for example, I am going for like voice masculinization and I'm trying to get like low, I'm trying to get like buzzy with my voice just to get that like masculine kind of buzz. That sounded good. Now compare that to this. Did you all hear how like it was like more muffled as I like went down?
Yeah.
Yep.
And let's take it the other way around. Say I want a lower vocal weight, like a softer kind of voice. And for that, I heard, we have to like go up higher in pitch. And I'm just a beginner, so I just do this motion. To my ears, it sounded like it got softer. But do you all think I like got soft with my actual vocal folds?
No.
That's a genuine question. Let's do some reactions so we can get some answers. So everybody through like your emoji window. Let's let's choose this one for, the vocal folds have like changed, and this one for the vocal folds have not changed. And I'm gonna do the slide again. So so do you all think the vocal fold changed? Okay, maybe I should choose way more distinct emojis next time, but that's fine. The emojis actually like did not really change. I was still buzzy towards the bomb. Oh, excuse me. I was still like really buzzy towards the bomb. And I was still really buzzy towards the top. But I was just like more nasal. So that kind of like hampered my perception of things. Not only that, but when it comes to modifying our general like size for voice feminization, we have heard that like raising the larynx is good. Getting like a smaller like throat size area is good. But again, like a lot of people confuse getting more nasal for a smaller size. So with all of that out of the way, let's actually talk about what nasality is. And as Oid has said, I'm pretty sure, nasality is when our sound actually goes through like our nose instead of our mouth. So everybody who's like able, I want you to actually like do this with me in real life. We're gonna touch the roof of our mouth just behind the teeth. And can you all feel like that like hard area there?
Yeah.
So awesome. And let's visualize this as well. So this is the mouth, like the top of the mouth. We have teeth here, the tongue. Just kind of like connected all around. Us and, etc., etc. The back of the mouth here. And this is the nose. So it kind of looks like a vampire, but we'll work with it. So with this like vampire kind of mouth, this area that we can trace with our fingers is called the heart palate. It's literally the name. It's like heart. But if we trace our fingers back a little bit like further back, I want you to tell me what you all feel, actually.
Get softer.
Okay.
It softens.
There's a muscle.
Good, yeah. It gets
That's
to
when it got
the
softer.
literally soft palate area.
Oh yeah.
It's softer.
So the soft palate is what controls nasality. You might have heard of it like before when people talk about singing, like lift your soft palate, or like your soft palate is like dropped on this sound. But this thing is what decides everything. So when the soft palate raises, it closes something called like the velar passage in the nose, or like velar port, and all our sounds, all this air and sound goes through the mouth instead. So we get a very kind of clear kind of sound. It's very like not hampered. But excuse me, I don't know how to actually like delete this. But let's say the soft palate. Oh, here actually. Never mind. Being silly. This pencil Okay, delete it. Nice. But say the soft palate here is like lowered. Our air is gonna go through our nose. So, very nasal kind of sound here if I spoke with it. And it's not as clear as night and day between like these two things. For example, the soft palate can be, like this much. Like most of the air goes through the mouth, but like, some of the air is going through the nose, like 50%. It can be 50%. It can be mostly nose and some mouth. Can be mostly mouth with some nose. So let's actually see what the all tone is like. So I want everybody to go for like the most comfortable vowel that you can go for, like the most like natural vowel. And then I want you to actually plug your nose on it. Okay? So to demonstrate, we're gonna go through a vowel and plug our nose on it. Midway through it. Everybody on mute?
But like, physically plug our noses or?
It can be, yeah? It can be any vowel you want. Very good. I can already hear some like very little voices in the audience. Now let's do it again. This time our nose is gonna be plugged on the get-go. So side note, I love the person here who had a clear tone. Amazing. But nasality is not really like a moral kind of thing. It's not like if you're doing nasality, it's like the worst thing ever. But I just like found it amusing that there's very clear sound here. Aside from that, so when we have our sound going through our nose, it's going to be a muffling quality. And when we plug our nose on top of that, all that air is going to have nowhere to go. Therefore, why we get like more muffling. So I want everybody to keep in mind like this way to keep track of how nasal your voice is. So also everybody, excuse me a second, I need to like adjust my voice setting because I realized it's not fully adjusted. Okay, there we go. Now you all can hear everything. So aside from that, let's talk about some applications of nasality. So nasality can be used when, as we said before, mimicking people's voices one-to-one, but it can also be used in character voices. So I'm sure you're like, some of you are familiar with the like stereotypical like anime kind of sound, like Uni-san and things like that. Let's actually get a video up of an example of that. Yeah, I don't usually do these sounds, so I'm not the best at them. But
Anita.
yeah, using PC is so much easier. But let's see if it also plays from the part of the video.
Nice.
I will find whoever is responsible for this.
You know, you can't have love without hate. It's like, the deeper the hate, the deeper the love. Now I'm really angry. Like really super angry! Sorry, I'm not into short guys.
Love without
We
hate.
do this the easy way.
So that's essentially the voice right there. But like so many cartoon voices, so many anime voices, or like Mo kind of voices, they involve that kind of like nasal kind of sound. Especially if, like we were trying to like do a younger kind of voice for like voice acting. We would do like slight like a bit of like nasality in our voice. We're gonna do like a smaller like mouth size as well, and like make everything super small. So I'm not sure if I'm able to play songs for YouTube copyright reasons. So can I get a quick check on that before I play the next clip?
That's a really good question. I have no idea, I'm afraid, Jana. Probably better be safe than sorry, but then it also is like educational purposes, so I think open commons applies. I'm really not sure.
I'm pretty sure it's okay as long as you want to play a few
Hopefully nothing bad
seconds
will
of it.
happen, but
Yeah, I think we'll be fine for like 10-15 seconds, and if not, come at me, people.
yeah, it's only gonna be like a part.
If not,
So-
I'll deal with it.
Legally, you can play it for 30 seconds before it gets copyright claimed.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Wow, that's a long time. 30 seconds.
Your voice. Any reason, or I'm not familiar with the singer actually, but she has a very nasal voice.
I can't see or hear the screen. Do I need to like settings? I need
You're on
to know.
quest, I'm afraid you won't be able to, but it's
For
the
all
song
that
of
we
the
went
Limehouse.
through. Can you all
Okay.
hear that like a little bit of like N kind of sound in her sound, like the N muffling that's happening? Yeah, and actually, this also takes us into a very good point. So let's do another like raise of hands or raise of emojis. I want you all to react with this if you ever heard a twangy kind of sound or like heard a voice be described as twangy.
What is twingy?
Okay, go 1, 2, 3, 4. Some likes 5. Cool. So some of you have heard of it before, and you probably have heard of it in terms of like voice feminization as well, like a very twangy kind of sound, meow, meow, or wah, ah. So twangy sounds are very buzzy, and often they're confused with nasality because both are like very similar in our culture. Usually when somebody goes for like a twangy kind of sound, they also have a fair bit of twang along with it, like nya 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 nya, which is really like annoying kind of sound, but it does demonstrate like those two qualities together. And if I plug my nose on that kind of sound, you're gonna hear some muffling. Nya 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 nya. It's very obvious, but that doesn't mean we can get a twangy kind of sound without without a nasality. So I'm gonna plug my nose. Now this still sounds like a very twangy and buzzy sound, correct? Yeah. So for those on the lookout for like twangy kind of voices in voice feminization, be aware of this distinction. It's very important. So with all that aside, we can apply them to our singing tones. So if I walk over to my piano here, this is the tone completely with like my map. It's like really fitting for like a lot of pop music, but sometimes we want to add a little bit of warmth to our sound, a little bit of like pizzazz. So slightly like nasal sound here. And if you're going for something along like this singer's kind of discography, or like this song in specific, even like more kind of nasality and twanginess. So, quick tangent, but I thought it's like worth mentioning. But to get back to our topic, let's actually do some short exercises together to get rid of nasality. And essentially, all of them are going to involve lifting the soft palate. And the first one we're going to do is called a refractory yawn. So, refractory yawn is the beginning of a yawn sound. It's not the full motion where we go and like do everything that like is involved in a yawn, where we like drop our legs, do like a very big like breath size, get like really hollow. We're not doing that whole thing. We're only gonna do the beginning of a yawn, where we are gonna feel the back of our mouth really kind of open, and like the soft palate is going to lift up. Ha. So, can you all go for like a very true yawn first? There is a joke to be made here about lectures being boring, but that aside, let's actually do the beginning of a yawn. So the same as like that last motion, just the beginning. Ha, ha, and speak with that posture. Do like a pitch, any pitch.
I can only do one
Not there. Awesome.
I don't know what that was.
Excellent.
So let's actually pair this with plugging our nose. So we're gonna do the beginning of the ha, with our nose plugged this time. Everybody go ahead. It's a villager sound.
That was loud.
Very good.
Sound like a villager.
Yeah, so villagers from Minecraft actually have a very like nasal kind of sound. They like so if you ever want to have a very nice shorthand into a nasal quality, go for a villager sound and trade with your friends. But could you all hear how this time we had like a much less clear, much more clear kind of sound and way less nasal one as a group?
Yeah.
Especially from like the middle area here, like a lot of improvement on that actually. But that aside, you know, let's actually do a couple of like more quick fixes. So we're gonna pretend to breathe through a straw. Or actually, let's go a little bit more like advanced. We're gonna first do a villager kind of sound to get a nasally kind of vowel. So we're gonna do like a and go into an ah from it. So go ahead and we all try that. Do the villager sound first. Very good. Awesome job, Sleepy. Now, we want to keep as much as possible of that like very nasal kind of quality. And then we're going to do the second exercise, or short quick fix to remove nasality, which is pretending to breathe in through a straw. So, breathe in through a straw, law of air. And then holding that posture exactly with the soft palate lifted, and then making a pitch with it. A little bit nasal here. Feel free to refresh the exercise if you still hear it be nasal. Awesome job. Okay, so to to our next one, which is, a little bit silly. A lot of exercises we do when we voice train are like silly, but if you have no shame like me, you can do like a big snorting kind of sound through the mouth, or maybe like a snore kind of sound. And that's also gonna lift the soft palate. So if you're able to go with that sound, I want you to all pair it with any vowel. Let's go for one different than let's go for E. E, E, E.
I can't do that.
You're just all sleeping. Sorry. Sleepy, you should be very good at this. Maybe. But
You okay?
there's another joke to be
Yeah, I'm
made
good.
about going from yawns to sleeping noises. But aside from that, very good job, everyone. Now, I actually want to run a few tests to make sure if you're able to distinguish nasal sounds from non-nasal sounds. So I'm gonna run through a few voices, and I want you all to tell me if it has nasality. If it does, let's go for a ghost emoji. And if it doesn't have nasality, we're gonna go for a pumpkin emoji. So one more time, ghost for nasal, pumpkin. It's clear. So, very good. Okay, how about this one? Okay, I'll do it one more time. Well, I'm seeing more ghosts this time. But yeah, with this sound actually, it was not nasal. My nose is plugged on this. Now compare it to me when I add some nasality to it. And can you hear how it has a little bit more depth right now, or more warmness, muffled quality, whatever you want to describe it. Very good. Let me think of another sound. So actually, do you think my voice right now has some nasality? Pick up the crate, be careful of the glass. This one is really hard, so. Pick up the crates, be careful of the glass. Okay. So let's make it easier. Do you think my voice is nasal or mostly nasal or mostly clean? Pick up the crates, be careful of the glass.
Mostly clean.
Clean. Yeah, it's mostly clean.
Yeah. It is actually. So if I plug my nose on this sound, pick up the crate, be careful of the glass. It's fairly clean or oral to be a bit more accurate. So it's actually normal to have a small degree of nasality in your voice. Also, you were saying, Vera?
What do you sound with more nasal?
Oh, good question. So if I were to add more nasality to my voice, I would sound something like this actually. All right, so we're gonna do another exercise to really feel the soft palate action here. And this one is really, really great for that. We're gonna do an ng kind of sound, which is a nasal consonant. And by the way, N, M, and ng are all nasal consonants. What do we mean by consonants? They're sounds where the airflow are obstructed, and then they're basically the only purely nasal sounds in English. Now, if you're French, not super familiar with the language, even though I knew it when I was like young, but they have like a lot more like nasal kind of sounds. So usually, from my experience, French people have like a little bit more control over nasality. That was like a
All
quick
of their
side note.
vowels can be nasal in French.
Ooh, actually, good to know. But
Yeah.
croissant. Jokes aside, sorry, French people, I'm so sorry. But we're gonna do an indie kind of sound, as in sing. So everybody do this with me. We're gonna do a sing and extend the indie. Sing. Very good. And now we're gonna do a sing and follow it up by an E. But pay close attention here. When we go from the sing to the clear E or the oral E, we're gonna hear a very distinctive pop happen, like sangi, sangi, gi, gi. Can you all like hear sangi, that pop?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like the tongue, like leaving the soft palate area, and also going to like an E kind of sound. And the more we like emphasize that, the more likely we are to be very oral and clean with our sound. So I want everybody to try to like get that pop to happen and be like really emphasized. Sengi, sengi. Go ahead. Very good. Peppers. Awesome job. Can I get some noise from this corner? Very good. So now let's do a similar thing but slightly different. We're gonna do a sing, and the E, or like the pop into the E, should be like really, really dulled. And basically what's gonna happen, our tongue is gonna like still be high towards like that NG posture, and this most of our sound will still go through our nose. So at the end of this, we should be getting a very nasal E. Sing. Can you all hear how like nasal this E sounds? I think it's also quite obvious. So let's do the both variations. First, emphasized. Sengi, and then unemphasized. Sengi. Go ahead and give it a try. Pausing again. Let's do the de-emphasized one alone now. Sengi. Size Chris. Try it again. Sengi. Got this. There, I need to hear it more. This aside, or this exercise, sorry, will give us like really great control and distinction and familiarity with like, you know, how an oral E sounds versus like a nasal E sounds. So we'll use this as a stepping stone for another exercise later on. But actually, we're gonna touch on that right now. We're gonna go from like a nasal E, so straight into that muffled sound, and while keeping the same pitch, or like the same sound, we're gonna make it clear. Saying. Go ahead and give it a try, everyone. crossroads.
I hear a swarm of bees.
It does sound like bees.
Bees, not the bees.
Forgot to bake it.
Bees. Nasal bees. But very good, everyone. And this will like actually allow us to like fine tune our control of the soft palate, since to sing the nasal E, our soft palate has to be, not all the way like down. It has to be like a little bit into the mouth, like the air is gonna go through a little bit through the mouth, but mostly through the nose. Like a like turn it into like other side gonna go through through the nose. It's like so good. But we're gonna do some breath alteration, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth, and then inhale through our mouth and out of our nose. And we're gonna do this in this kind of pattern. Everybody give it a try. Everyone. So now we're actually gonna like phonate, like make sound on the actual exhale. So after we establish the pattern in our mind a little bit, we're gonna add the sound on the exhales like this. And side note, when you do the nasal exhale, all the air is gonna go through the nose, and your mouth should be open as well. So everybody give it a try. Make sure you get the pattern first before you add the pitch. Awesome job. So I actually want everybody to play around with this exercise in the points where you struggle at. So this might be a bit more intermediate, but say you struggle with like getting nasality, the smaller in size you go. Like, let me just do a pitch actually. And like, let's say we get nasal here. Buzzy sound aside, we can apply that like breath alteration exercise to that pitch. Let me demonstrate it on a different size exercise. I'm gonna do the whole thing voicelessly. And here I'm gonna start being nasal. So to fix that, I'm gonna do the breath alteration at that small size. So does this make sense to everybody? And do we have any questions so far? Please raise your hands.
Can you repeat it again, please? I think your mic cut out. I didn't quite get that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. So,
Yeah, your microphone wasn't coming through for most of that just now. I think you might need
Oh,
to turn
no.
down the sensitivity.
Yeah, a bit.
It's set at 0%, so I don't know why you are
Is your noise
like this.
suppression on? Noise suppression?
It was. I'm so sorry. So,
Getting a nasal sound here.
so. Ha. 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 There we go. can apply that like anywhere in your range. And also if I were to do like the slide without like going nasal, which is a topic for another day. But let's actually go over the final thing, or the final point for today, which is, how do we apply all of this to speech? If we like just do exercises without like, applying them, it is useful, but it's not the best. We should always be like applying what we learn. So I want us to go through these sentences. Pick up the crate. Actually, I'm not gonna write all of them. I'm just gonna write this one. Oh, oops. Pick up the crates. Be careful. Of the glass. Oh my gosh. I'm glad I work with voice and not words, but I mean writing. But does anybody notice anything particular about this sentence?
It doesn't have any nasal sounds?
Good job, yeah. It doesn't have any nasal consonants. So first, we'll try our hand at like reading a text that doesn't have any nasal consonants, just so we can like get like the most like pure control of nasality without like having any nasal consonant like trip us up. So I want everybody to do like a short version of the breath alteration. We're gonna inhale through our nose and then exhale through our mouth. And midway through the mouth exhale, we're gonna add pitch to our sound. And then we're gonna connect that pitch to the sentence. Like, pick up the crate, be careful of the glass. Go ahead and give it a try, everyone.
Pick up the crate, be careful of the
Pick
glass.
up the crate, be careful of the glass.
Pick up the crate, be careful of the glass.
Pick up the crate, be careful of the glass.
Pick up the crate, be careful of the glass.
Alright, so
Let's
let's do the sentence again. But this time, after we like do the mouth exhale or like the mouth pitch, we're gonna plug our nose just to double check that our sound is not nasal. Like, pick up the crate, be careful of the glass. Go ahead and give it a try, everyone.
I didn't plug my nose.
Pick up the crate, be careful of the glass.
Pick up the crate,
Pick up the crate, be
Pick up the crate, be careful of the glass.
Pick up the crate, be careful of the
Be careful of the crate, pick up the
Okay,
glass.
very, very good job, everyone. I heard like one or two like nasal sounds still, but I want to ask you all, like, who here has noticed their voice changed in quality from like when you did the sentence without plugging your nose and when you did the sentence with plugging your nose? So do you hear any change in your voice happen? And you can reply with this emoji to signify that.
It did when I accidentally
Of
went
what?
the wrong way.
Okay, so actually like fairly more than I expected. I love the candy emoji. But yeah, ideally, we want to have complete parity between the both kind of sounds. Like, pick up the crate, be careful of the glass, pick up the crate, be careful of the glass. And I was like half plugging my nose for like, or like plugging my nose for half the sentence and I'm plugging it for like the next. So after we nail this down, or we nail like the problem areas in our voice, like as I discussed like earlier, then we're gonna focus on like sentences or like paragraphs that do actually have like some nasal consonants. And here's another like important thing. Nasal co-articulation. And also nasal carryover co-articulation. So, what are these like very fancy words? Co-articulation just means how some sounds in our language get affected by like their neighboring sounds. Take for example the word me. The word me starts with like a nasal kind of like consonant, but the e doesn't have to be like nasal. But the way we have been like taught it from like beginning, and this also applies to like sounds in general. People tend to blend words qualities together, and I actually want everyone to try this out right now. I want you to go for like a me, and then plug your nose on the e, and tell me if you like find a muffling happening in your voice. Me.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. We can absolutely do this sound without like having the muffling. Me, by having it like be more clear. And nasal carryover co-articulation is when we're reading a long paragraph or speaking with a friend. This is like bound to happen. We run across a nasal consonant, and suddenly, our voice is back to being nasal again. So one of the advanced techniques, like later on, is to actually practice recovering our voice from nasality, because a common problem I see is like people are doing progress on sentences like these, where like there's like no nasal consonants, but we get to send a sentence that has a nasal consonant, and it comes back. Unfortunately, I don't have a paragraph at hand to read right now, so I can't like fully demonstrate this.
Okay, strong.
Okay, strong and always good shade.
Yeah.
I don't think that has any nasal consonants.
Okay.
But yeah, does this last point make sense actually?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Kinda hard to wrap my head around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to try to simplify it further, if you don't want your voice to be nasal and you're like doing a lot of progress with sounds that like or sentences that don't have any nasal consonants, you also have to train recovering your sound from nasality. Just so when like you're in everyday conversation or like reading text, instead of like getting very muffled, and actually I can probably find the sentence right here. Give me a second.
Nice.
Let that overflow.
All right. So I have this sentence about whales on my server that I have grown to like a lot. But let me just read this with my nose plugged. And we should only hear my sound be muffled on the N, M, and NGs. So, because of where they live, Because of where they live and unlike many different animals, whales are conscious breathers. They decide what to breathe. Whales breathe through blowholes. Baleen whales have 2 and toothed whales have 1. These are on the top of the head. The animal breathes while most of their body is underwater. So, not completely like oral. There is some of my sound going nasal, but if I'm struggling with like nasal care over co-articulation, what's gonna happen to my voice is like the following. Because of where they live, and because of where they live, and like many animals, and after like I hit like a nasal consonant here, the nasality is gonna like improve it, like carry on in my voice as I'm reading the rest of the text. Now, does that make more sense?
Yes.
Very good.
How do you recover from it?
Great question. So that exercise we did earlier, where we took like a nasal E into like a clear E, or like that is actually teaching us the control over our soft palate. And actually, I didn't like originally plan to go through these exercises, but I think they can be like really helpful in like feeling the area as well. So you're all gonna get some bonus nasality exercises as well.
Nice.
But I want everybody to go for like a pa kind of sound, like a pa, 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 and really emphasize the air behind the pa.
Aspiration.
Yeah, it's a very like asper sound there. Pa, very good. So that pa plosive, like P and B, require the air. Let's say this is like lips. Require the air inside the mouth to like build up before going to a plosive, before like being released. Pa, pa, pa. So what we're gonna do right now, and let's say this is like the vocal tract. This is like the nose, and this is soft palate. We are gonna keep our mouth closed and build up the pressure here, and then go for an M kind of sound. And what you're gonna feel is all of this like built up air pressure is actually gonna go through our nose. You're gonna also like hear like a kind of plosive nasal kind of sound, which is like really unusual for us. Like so I want everybody to think about doing an M. Oh, awesome! Make sure you're emphasizing the pressure. Very good. And the more we control this area, like the more we like feel it, the better things are gonna be. We can also practice doing nasality kind of slides on vowels. So taking vowels from like very oral kind of sound into a very nasal kind of sound, like So I want everybody to try this and to think about adding a more N kind of quality to the vowel the more time goes on. And this is also like an advanced kind of exercise, but I'm very curious to see how you all do. So everybody give it a try. Awesome job, everyone. Great results so far. So the more you practice this, the more control you're gonna have. So let's clear all of this up.
My poor neighbors.
My mom has already come in and been all like, "What the fuck is going on in here?" I think my mom will allow.
I missed
For
the
me, it
joke.
would be
I'm so
my
sad.
dad that would be questioning what I'm doing.
Yeah, my mom and my stepdad
Same.
more like when they are downstairs sleeping.
Well, my dad's not so much as sleeping, more so as watching a movie, so he might not hear me as much.
All right, so that concludes our lecture portion of the event. So, does anybody have any final questions about nasality, or just in general even?
I have a question over here.
Okay, I'll get to Crossroads first, and then wait. So, excuse me a second. She's getting cold.
No, that's the sound of an alarm.
Your avatar is really cute. I just wanted to say that. I hope you have a great day.
Hi. I hope you have a better day.
I hope you have a better day.
No, I hope you have a better day.
Yeah, but I hope you guys have a better. I hope all.
What's your question?
This is the days.
I hope you have the best. Huh?
I hope you have more days.
I do not know where that came from. That kind of spooks me a little bit.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hi.
So, getting back to questions, Crossroads, what was your question?
Not so much a question, just a comment. I just want to say for the record that, just in case anyone might be interested, that what you have described as nasal co-articulation is also called nasal assimilation. And another term for the soft palate, a more technical term for the soft palate, is the velum. I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, thank you. That actually is really good knowledge.
Thank you.
So, Oint, what was your question?
Hi. So, for people that speak more than one language, the nasality, is it different? So in French, you said there's more nasal sounds. Is there any difference that you should be aware of when you practice these kinds of vocal trainings?
I probably would crash again.
So, asking is there any
I've had
tell
vocal
about
trainings
these
before,
sounds?
and it's not the same in English as it is in Spanish. So I'm not sure if there's anything to be aware of, maybe.
Yeah, if you're honestly practicing those nasal kind of vowels, you just practice the vowel slides of nasality. Just find a midway point, and apply it on your speech. That's a great method for that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, just to see what you said about it. So yeah, great, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, who else has any
I
questions
can,
about
I can
nasality
touch
or
on
in
that a
general?
little bit more. I'm a phonetician and a
Oh,
linguist. I
please.
can actually touch on that question a little more. Nasality across languages is nasality. A nasal vowel is a nasal vowel is a nasal vowel. But you can see some other differences. Like you can see Icelandic is a really interesting example where they have nasal consonants that are also voiceless, which basically means your vocal folds are not vibrating while you articulate these consonants. Like for example, the sound t in English, you don't voice it. If you did, you would get d. In Icelandic, they have nasal consonants that are voiceless, basically whispered like that, which is very unusual. But unless you come across other suprasegmentals like aspiration, the puff of air, or a voicelessness distinction, you're not going to see any sort of difference on the actual nasality quality itself across languages.
Okay. Wow, that was interesting indeed.
It's really helpful.
Thank you for the knowledge.
And
you're welcome.
yeah, thank you, Crossroads. Actually, you can notice this as well when people are as I said, I touched on this before, but when people practice voiceless size slides, you can hear when they start to include the nasality. It sounds very distinct from voiceless slide where someone goes like completely like oral. Ha. Ha. So yeah, it's another way like I came across that. But yeah, I think that was like the end of my thought actually. Okay, so let me actually check. For the one-on-one section. Okay, good. The list updated. All right. So Crossroads. Actually, I'm gonna list out a few names, and from those people, if you wanna like come in for like a one-on-one session right now, just come on stage. Clear Crossing, Shin Sogtha, Freya 22, Wiru-san, and Dridya Lazuli. Does any of you wanna come on stage?
I had thought that I was signing up for the one-on-ones for tomorrow's class when I filled that out.
That might be
Oh.
for tomorrow. I'm not too sure.
For tomorrow.
How long have you been
That's all my
working on your
question.
voice, sweet timbre?
Since 2019.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
Though it's
I have another question.
yeah, go ahead.
Samara, what is the best time to practice on a day?
Oh, I really like think it depends on your situation. Like you should definitely practice in the morning when like some warm-ups when you have like when you sleep your body like produces like edema, your vocal folds are like a little bit like more stiff. That's why like you get the like gravelly warning voice kind of sound. For that like I literally recommend like doing just some pitch slides going up and down like doing them with a straw, doing them like on lip trills. Just like anything that gets like the voice moving in that like period. But aside from that, like the best practice that happens is practice that is actually like incorporated into your day. So a lot of people like have this like huge barrier about like practice, like setting like a specific like time for it. And although that is like good for like focus practice sessions where you like record yourself and like listen to yourself, that's not the most accessible or like feasible for everyone. So imagine like waking up and you do like a voiceless side slide. Imagine like doing the laundry and you do like a weight kind of slide, like from low pitch to a high pitch. Keeping the softness. If you have like family around, if you have like people around, like you don't want them to hear you, like maybe practice some like really like subtle voiceless kind of practice, maybe doing steps in like different kind of like vowels and applying sound to them at the very end. Very like gently. But yeah, does that actually answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Good answer.
Welcome. All right. So is there anybody else from the names that wants to come on? I'll list them out one more time.
I think
Shin
might
Sokta?
be for tomorrow, Jana. You might want to just take like a random person from the crowd.
I see. Okay. So in that case, who would like to come up right now? Please do a raise of hands. Okay. And based on like who was the most active, I will prioritize them actually.
come up on stage and do what exactly?
Okay, Sleepy Cat, sorry. You're up. You might want to
How do I
think
get up? How do I get up on the stage without jumping?
Yeah, you can't jump.
Here.
You can't jump down.
You go around the side.
I tried. I tried. Whoa. Hold on. I need to turn down my render resolution because seeing people is making my game not happy. Okay, there we go. Hello.
Hi. So, tell me about like your vocal skill level, your vocal knowledge level, and what are your current vocal goals?
From what I've heard from you today, I feel like at a normal amount, like not too well, but at a decent amount because this is my first time actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to do
Oh.
anything in general.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mhm.
And what are you aiming for in terms of like voice?
More so just like not like my I don't know how to phrase it. Definitely not this. It's kind of hard to not do this.
Okay.
That's my yeah.
From what I can hear, like the most like major things about your voice right now that I hear is like, you know, a lower pitch. So, you know, lower pitches around here. We ideally, for a more like feminine kind of sound, which is like what I'm assuming, we want to be a bit like up higher, like around like this area. So, and we also want to be like lighter. Have you ever heard of the term vocal weight before?
I've only heard you talk about it today. Well, I've heard it another time by someone else, just not entirely elaborated, more so just told to me.
Got you. So vocal weight in really simple terms is like how buzzy or like soft sounds are in like nature. And this also applies to our voices. Like we can make our voices like really buzzy, or we can make them like really soft, So we're gonna be like working on like these two things, pitch and vocal weight, since they're like the best starting point and like the best kind of foundation. So to start, I just want you to let's experiment. We're gonna do some like pitch slides going upwards on a hum like this. Very good. Can you hear how like the sound is getting softer towards the top? Yeah, that's exactly what we want to like keep. So, and at the top where our voice is like softer, we're gonna very gently carry that like hum into any vowel. So, go ahead and give it a try. Did you hear that like a little dip at the end? So when you're transitioning from the hum into like a vowel, I want you to like maintain the pitch as steady as possible. Like you're gonna open your lips very slowly on the sound, okay? Awesome. So, have you ever hummed along to music before?
Yes, I have.
Awesome. So, I'm gonna play a few pitches on my piano, and I want you to like match them as if like you're matching a melody of a song. So, here's the first one. Can you hear how like this is like lower than we want to be? So try sliding up until you hit a really nice harmonicity feeling with the note. Okay, so your turn. Very good. Now, the upper pitch there can be like a tiny bit stronger. So let's go for like a slightly like louder kind of sound on it. Go again. Very good. And can you hear how like the pitch is actually like, fairly breathy as well? And a little bit unclean, if you can like hear that, like ha ha, as compared to ha ha, which is like breathy but more clean. Now, ideally, when we're first like setting up a really good foundation, and this goes back to like one of the points like way earlier on, how like these like secondary qualities like tongue, breathiness, etc., they can just make things a little bit like hard to disambiguate and hamper our progress when we're working on like the main three like foundations. So I want us to have a more or like less breathy sound. So can you do the sound as in like water?
Can you say that
Like
again?
Can you do the sound as what as in like water or It's you're doing it but you're doing it with like a vowel as well, like an kind of sound. So just still really good, but let's try to get the taps to happen, the glottal taps. That's what they're called. The sound. We're gonna do it alone. Very good. So let's do this at the higher pitch. Let's do it here. Let's find the note first. So I want you to like slide up in pitch. Until we hear that like really nice really nice harmonicity with the pitch. Yeah, a little bit above where we want to be, but still really good. So go back to the last pitch you made from memory. Very good. Now we're gonna open up into those like series of glottal taps while still keeping our voice very light. Awesome. Already so much better. So we're gonna extend the sounds on like those glottal taps a bit more. Again?
Can you elaborate on extend a little bit more? Because I don't think I understood it.
Sure. So, think of the glottal taps as this way. So this is basically what we're doing. But what I want us by extending the pulses is like right?
Okay.
Okay. So let's do the first variation. Keeping everything light and high pitched. Okay. So can you hear how like on the last one we're starting starting like with the good vocal fold closure, like the non-breathy sound, but then we're opening up into the breathiness, right? Yeah, so let's try it again. We're gonna try to maintain as smooth of a sound as possible. On the final one, go ahead. Okay. So, how do you think about this one? I want you to self-critique it. Do you think it's like less breathy or not?
I think it was a little more breathy than the one I was doing.
Not quite, actually. It was like...
No?
at the same level of breathiness. Yeah, as like the last one. And also, from what we talked about today, is there any other quality you can like hear in that kind of sound?
I'm not entirely too sure.
Well, let's do it again. And I really want you to pay attention. So, So what do you hear in this sound?
More low, soft tone to it.
Okay. Let's ask the audience. So, what do you all think the qualities about like this sounds are? The sound is. Excuse me.
Nasal.
It sounds like there's a
Nasally.
little warbly nasal in there, a little bit.
Yeah. So got a couple of nasality. Very good. So can you perceive that like a little bit of like in kind of sound quality in the sound?
I'm not sure if I can really perceive it too well.
Our perception of our own voice is gonna like improve the more we practice with it and the more we listen to it. But let's go into the extreme of nasality just so we can like feel it. So we're gonna do some breath alteration into the final pitch, like ha ha ha. Give it a try.
Alright. So, I lost all of my train of thought. Can you re-say what you said again? My brain blanked.
Of course.
I'm
So
sorry.
we're doing no, it's totally fine. But we're doing breath alteration. Okay? Breath alteration. breathe alteration. And we're gonna do it on like this kind of quality. So the final pitch. Ha ha give it a try.
Ha
Much better. Ha and let's do the glow taps. Ha Okay, so we're still hitting some like a law of breathiness in the sound, right? So let's do another kind of like really good strategy for removing breathiness from the voice. And some of you might have heard me talk about this before, but fry. Does anybody know what fry is here? Crossroads?
It's the grudge sound.
Exactly. The grudge ring. The California kind of fry at the end of sentences.
Oh my god.
All the sounds are examples of fry. And fry is when our vocal folds, and this is what's happening anatomically, is when our vocal folds
also called
are
creaky
really
voice.
slack. Come again?
It's also called creaky voice.
It's also called that as well. In voice stuff, like a lot of things share common names, and it's the vein of like voice teachers' existence. I'm saying on the same definitions, but in fry, our vocal folds are like very slack, and they're very close to each other. Keep this in mind. This closeness is what we're gonna like need in a second, and these two qualities is what allows them to periodically pass the air through them. And so fry is a really good conduit for a soft, non-breathy kind of sound. So I want us to do the grudge kind of voice right now, and then, as smoothly as possible, we're gonna try to pair it with a higher pitch. Still being soft. Give the fry alone a try.
Sorry. Yeah.
You're fine. Okay, can you hear how like it still like wants to go into like that like breathiness. So if it like be extra mindful about it, and I want you to like do the fry alone. Just fry. Very good. And just as another helpful tip, our larynx houses the vocal folds, so as it changes position, the vocal folds are also gonna like change in relation to each other. The higher our larynx is, the closer the vocal folds. The lower the larynx is, the further away the vocal folds are. So we're just going to actually do the fry sound into a higher larynx. So I want you to mimic this sound as much as possible. It's gonna sound like a grudge sound getting a little bit faster, like Can you do that for me?
Sure.
Okay, at the very end there. We're still opening into the fry. So I want you to do this sound of a water ball filling up for me. Close, it's just kind of getting stuck at a certain place. So let's do it again. There you go. Awesome job. Okay. Out of curiosity's sake, can you take the final sound into a pitch? Ha, ha. It can be like any sound you want. Not too early. You got much brighter in the last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do it again. Ha, ah.
Oh.
Okay, much better. Let's aim for a higher pitch as we do this, which is hopefully not too much to keep track of, but at the final place of the slide, matching that pitch. Okay. So does this sound like we're matching the pitch I played on my piano? Versus do you think they're both matching? Yeah, what if it was like a lot lower? Here we have the nice harmonicity of matching a note. So let's find the note first. Slide up until this note, A3.
Can you play it again?
Of course. Almost there. We actually like overpassed it a little bit there. That's totally fine. Also, when I tell you to do the slide, I want you to do like a pitch slide. So we're gonna use our vocal folds. Let's do a hum into that pitch. Again. A bit more. Okay, so much better. Now I want you to keep that note in your memory. Hit the same note with an E vowel. E. Very good. Let's try to do it without the startup. Hit it straight away in an oo. Ooh. Okay, much better. We'll start it directly on this vowel now. We're gonna go for an sorry, I forgot the nose. Go first. So really, really close. Now, with this note in your head, we're gonna precede it by doing like the whispered kind of slide, the water bottle kind of slide. Excuse me. And finally taking it into a pitch at the end. Okay? Okay. So I'll leave you with like one final exercise to tackle like the breathiness, and then we have to like move on to get to other people. But I want you to actually use like a get kind of sound. Get, just so we can get like the vocal folds to like have really good contact.
With the same water bottle one?
No, just doing get.
Okay.
Versus So let's do a slide. We're gonna move from making it a bit more clear the more we move on, okay? Okay. Still not quite. But do you have like an improved understanding of like how it sounds when your voice is like breathy versus when it sounds like more clear and smooth in closure? Okay, very good. So I want you to try to like, take those like sounds from breathy quality to like a smooth quality. But yeah, to get to other people, we have to like also like move on. So everybody give it up for Sleepy Cat. I want to hear some virtual claps happening.
Good job!
I didn't notice that my right controller had died already.
Yeah, I think we're running a little bit over time for this one, Jana.
Okay, so in that case, do we wrap it off here?
I think that would be best, but we do have another class tomorrow, with plenty of chances for any volunteers to come on up as well.
Well, thank you all for attending. I can't wait for the next one. I'll keep in mind the people who like participated the most, and if when I do my next workshop very soon, I'll have you on, and we'll have maritime segmentation as well. But thank you all for listening and also being a great crowd, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.